Alright guys, so today I've decided to do TXT. They've recently been on my feed a lot. It's not even a group I listen to. So let's see what's going to happen in 2022 for them. Ooh, okay. They're into Hype. Is that what Big Hit calls himself now? That's who they're under, isn't it? Ooh. Yikes. Clarification. Oh my god. Man, these cards are not being nice to them. I'll talk about it in just a second. It's a lot of cards, but okay. Ooh. Okay, so this does have a lot of reversals. A lot. First off, we start with the Emperor in reverse, which is usually an abuse of power, parental issues. So this could be like, in their case, they're still pretty young. It could be with the manager or it's with like the big person in the company, like the CEO of the company. Yikes. This is why I don't particularly like reading on BTS. Because this is similar to what I get with BTS, so there are definitely issues with the company. The clarification for the Emperor was the Six of Swords in reverse, so trouble coming, nowhere to run, and rocking the boat. Um, I think whatever they're going to be dealing with is influenced almost by BTS. So it's something that happens with BTS that influences what happens with them. So it's like somebody else rocked the boat, but they're still in the boat too. So it's like everybody's getting affected by this one person. Which, if you haven't seen my BTS update video, I did mention there is a potential problem for a scandal, and it may affect this group as well, just from being within the same company. So we got the Chariot in reverse as for the next card, which is lack of direction, aggression, and powerlessness. So they may feel kind of trapped almost, where there's no clear path set for them. And this could result in some arguing within the group. Like, it's almost sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like deflected aggression. They can't take it out on the person they're truly upset with, so they're kind of taking it out on each other, even though they're not really even upset with each other. Because we do got the King of Wands in reverse, so this is tyrant, a bully, someone with a bad temper. As I said, they could. Yeah. There's really no sugarcoating it. This is definitely an issue with the company. We also got the King of Swords in reverse, which is manipulation, abusive, and controlling. That's basically this industry in a nutshell. When it comes to idols, it's like they have no control in their own lives, and there is a lot of manipulation that happens from managers and like CEOs, people that are in charge of their contracts, because this contract exists, it's like they have like no freedom whatsoever. I think that's what's happening here. We also have the death in reverse, which is resisting change, inevitable endings, and stagnation. I don't think this is like an ending for the group per se, but I do think this is definitely sort of like a warning call for the company, because if they are resistant to this change that's happening within the K-pop industry, which I've been sort of predicting this for quite a few months now. I don't know when it starts, to be honest, but there's definitely going to be a shift in what is considered acceptable in the K-pop industry. I'm not sure what's the trigger, but I think it's been slowly happening for a couple years now, but it's going to happen fast. And anyone who does not change with the times will go under. No matter how big the company thinks they are or how much money they have, if they don't change with the times, they will fall behind everybody else. Because that's potential here. This could also be, it could be an indicator of things happening within the company, not within the group, but maybe there's people that are being pushed out, perhaps. Um, or this could not be related to them and related to someone else, where it's like that potentially. I don't quite know about that. I'm not quite sure that's what I'm getting. There's some sort of ending. It's almost like an end of an era. Era. Not error. The error is my English today. So the era, so an end of an era. Ooh, this has nothing to do with them though. But they're still going to be influenced by this. However, there is at least one upright card, which is the Page of Swords, which is curious, clever, and chatty. Um, I see this as sort of TXT in this reading. I think it's like their youthful energy, like almost kind of an innocence in the industry, is kind of almost beneficial to them because they can grow up to any group really that they meet at, like, say, an event, and they can just have a conversation with them. Like, they're very sociable, and that plays into their favor in the industry. Because they have almost this innocence to them, there are a lot of people that are drawn to them because, especially older groups, I want to say, because they've sort of lost that innocence and like pure joy in the industry. And the fact that they still have it kind of draws a lot of people to them that are trying to somehow keep their inspiration for the industry alive. So that is definitely what they represent. So we do have the Two of Wands in reverse, which talks about like sort of being anxious to a degree, like a lot of self-doubt and fearing the unknown. So the industry is changing. I don't really exactly like how to explain what's happening because it seems to affect each group differently. For them, the same true and tried ways for making a successful K-pop group is no longer the way. And it makes them feel very anxious because they thought they kind of had things set up very well for them, but now everything's changing. So they're a little bit afraid of whether they will be successful or not. And lastly, we have the Sun in reverse, which is pessimism, blind to truth, and negativity. So in general, I think there's negative people around them that do influence them, that kind of get them being like, this isn't really what I wanted, or this isn't really what I signed up for. Being very anxious, like it definitely, like negative people around them, people that are negative about the industry, also seems to trigger like an anxiety within the group. Um, there's also a potential that there's like they easily could idolize BTS, pun not intended, where they might put them on a pedestal where they forget that they're people. Therefore, when things happen with BTS, it kind of affects this group significantly because it's sort of like when you are a child and then one day when you get older, you realize your parents are just people and they're not like this like archetype type person that does no wrong and never makes mistakes. So it's almost like ignorance on their part to where they don't always see BTS as like people that make mistakes. They're not perfect. So there's a potential. It's like sort of like it does seem like an indicator of if the scandal that I predicted for BTS happens, it's going to sort of be like a surprise moment for TXT where they real like especially when it comes out to be like kind of true to a degree that BTS is just people, they make mistakes, and especially since I there is some people that have an interesting attitude lately in BTS, and them witnessing this kind of makes them sort of fall into like a pessimistic view of the industry. Even though it's like they're still hanging on to that innocence of the industry, it's like a constant tug battle. It's like the core of them is still so innocent that it's able to withstand it. But if this were to continue long term wise, it could change the group significantly. So let's see. I just want to see what the outcome. Oh. Okay. So we have the tower. Of course, tower has to be upright. So the tower kind of tells me a massive change. So I want to say the group is going to go through like a massive shift in their image. That might be a little bit shocking for people. Okay. They're going to be getting a lot of opportunities here with the Five of Cups, and they're going to be very sort of gracious towards all those who have helped them in the industry. So whatever their like next major promotion coming up is, it's going to be very successful. I want to say. We also have the Three of Swords in reverse, so overcoming grief, closure, and forgiveness. Um, There could be some unresolved issues between members, or this could be involving in whatever went down. I almost want to say with BTS and them. That there is some forgiveness about like past behaviors, perhaps. Sort of like again, this is a parent and child sort of dynamic I'm feeling here, where they are sort of coming to terms with who BTS truly is and sort of accepting them as they are and like as like true people. Like they're seeing them as people now, not just sort of like uh I can't think of how to pronounce the word I want to use. So it's definitely where they're sort of realizing they're people, they're accepting them as people, and they're able to sort of forgive any sort of bad interactions that have happened in the past. We also have the Seven of Cups here in reverse, so they may still be avoiding some conflicts. I'm getting like there's definitely some conflict avoidance where they don't want to shake the boat, but because they don't shake the boat, other people are shaking the boat. So perhaps they could be experiencing a lot of issues with the company too, but they don't say anything. But they still end up like sort of getting kind of thrown into the chaos of it all because I think it's a particular member of BTS is constantly shaking this boat all the time. And I think these guys get a little scared off by it. It's not that this person is purposely trying to do this to make their lives miserable, but sometimes it does affect them negatively. So it's to the point where it'd be like, can you please stop? Because we don't want to deal with all this. Because whatever you do affects us. So can you like stop shaking the boat so much? But they're still avoiding that conflict. Like they're not saying much of anything to anyone. And of course, this has a little bit to do with, I think, like Korean culture to a degree, where it's like the younger people that are younger just don't have much of a voice and much of anything. So I feel like that's what's happening. But yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. It's just a big change and a lot of like just anxiety in general. Let's see what's like, what is just the general outcome of the group? Okay. We have the Nine of Coins, which is indulgence, thriving, self-reliant. So they're going to become very independent. Um, Four of Swords. There might be a little bit of social like isolation when it comes to them. Like they're going to be a little bit, I think, more distant from some of the other idols in the end. For I don't know why, but this could also indicate like it's that for them being an idol might be a bit stressful as well. And Five of Wands, which is conflict, clash of egos, and fights. There could be a little bit of ego clash within the group. So it's like I feel like their future, like that's going to be constant battle that sort of happens throughout their future. Is occasionally there's just a clash of personalities. So, and that might have a little bit to do with the Four of Swords energy because it might be draining for some people. Because artists in general tend to be like rather empathic towards other people. So for some of them, it really could like drain them to deal with all the conflict in between like certain people of the group. They'll be like, I'm so sick of this. Like, but then they don't say anything either. So it's like it just keeps happening. So that is what we got for tarot. Let me collect all of this. Uh, and then we will go into the Oracle decks. Alright, let's see what the angels, ancestors, and spirit guides have to say. Okay. First off, we got the Knight, be brave and honest. We got the She-Wolf, release the wild within. We got Mother Earth, feel loved and comforted. We have the Drum, dream and journey. And we have the Shaman, trust in higher forces. So, Knight, being brave and honest, I only ever see this card when somebody is facing a conflict against their morals. So, again, this is the K-pop industry, so that's kind of a given at this point. In what I usually read is that this is kind of a common thing where it's sort of like a battle of sort of what an idol values versus what they're like kind of forced into doing as an idol. Sometimes this card is like more religious tone, but I don't think that's the case in this one. So we also have the She-Wolf, release the wild within. This is a call to sort of stop being so passive. They're very, very passive in general. And this is sort of a call to start being more vocal in general. And sort of kind of stop hiding their true selves and sort of be like, this is who we are, sort of energy. Mother Earth, somebody could have a lot of like previous trauma that kind of limits their ability to allow others in. And this is a call to sort of heal that energy and definitely to feel some like self love and acceptance, which kind of ties into the other reading I was getting earlier slightly. Dream and journey. Somebody's getting a lot of information via their dreams. Kind of an indicator of what path they should take because they do constantly feel like they don't know the way or like they're confused on which direction to take or where they're even going. Like they just don't really know what's happening for their future. But on the same token, it's like they do know, they are just sort of turning a blind eye to the information they get via dreams because sometimes they don't want it to be true, and other times it's just they view it as a dream, not as something that's giving them actual important information, which makes sense. I mean, it's hard to tell between a dream that is just a dream or a sort of manifestation of your anxieties versus a dream that has actual important information. So in this case, there is someone getting a lot of information via dreams. So again, this is common within idol groups or any sort of person in the arts, is that there easily could be a psychic within the group, like a natural born one. Um, yeah, I want to say this is like a natural gift, but they don't always understand it or they're afraid of it. One or the other. I'm not really quite sure. We also have the shaman here, which is trust in higher forces. So this is sort of like surrendering to the universe that things are going to go the way they're supposed to go and to stop controlling or trying to control the situation. Which definitely kind of suits this group because they are constantly trying to feel like they have some control within what's happening and trying to purposely direct their future. But this is sort of a call to sort of let things fall as they're going to happen and not to worry so much about things they cannot control. So let's go into, oh God, what is this one called? The Awakened Soul. So this is going to be more direct guidance from the universe. I don't usually get reversals. Interesting. Ew. Okay. We're getting a lot of shadow, which I guess kind of fits into what we were getting before. So I'm really not that familiar with the shadow aspects. So let's take a look in the book. Yeah, we have the vision card here in reverse. Somebody is definitely ignoring innate natural psychic abilities. And this is also kind of why they can't see clearly, is because they're blocking their own intuition. There could be a strong sort of negative connotation within psychic abilities for this person, and this is why they are trying to repel them. But that's also making their lives a lot more miserable because they are repelling this. If they allow this to freely like flow, their life would get a lot easier. So yes, we got the adventure card also in reverse, which deals with fearing the unknown and kind of being closed off and unwilling to try new things. This could also mean that you are being a little bit too caught up in your daily schedule and becoming rigid to where it's like if your schedule changes, you get upset. So this could be, I don't know enough about the group and their signs. You could have somebody that is a Taurus for example, any sort of fixed sign, really, but I'm getting strong Taurus type vibes from this, where if their schedule changes and it's not exactly how it is, they get very upset. So this is almost kind of a call to sort of let go of these control issues, which is very much Taurus. Um, Control is definitely a thing. We also have the shapeshifter here in reverse. Um, ooh, ooh, okay. How do I say this? Okay, there is a lot of negative things happening around them. There's a lot of lying, deception, fraud. Sort of, there even could be some plagiarism happening where it's stuff that they've been working on, somebody else has been stealing, or even potentially this could almost be someone within the company that sometimes takes their ideas and gives them to somebody else. I don't think this other party knows that this is happening, but it is. Um, the other potential here is it does talk about breaking of contracts. So there is always a potential someone might leave. Especially if there is plagiarism happening and they feel like they can't do anything about it, it might push people into breaking contract. That's a little wild. Okay. We also have release in reverse. Ooh. Oh, stop. Somebody's trying to creep into my energy. I don't like that. You're not welcome. Go in. Go. My space. Somebody doesn't like what I'm saying. Okay, we're okay now. Basically, what just happened is like I got a huge pressure around the third eye, which is obviously dealing with psychic abilities. This is not the first time it's ever happened when I've done stuff in the industry, so this could be the same person. Perhaps I've had this happen before, where it's like I'll just get a massive sudden headache when I do these kind of readings, which is why I kind of like part of the reason why I wasn't doing readings for a while. But no, it was like massive for a second. I'm sorry I had to pause that. Kind of just a show of what can happen when you do these kind of readings. That yes, like bad things can happen when you do this kind of stuff. Like it's not common, at least in my experience, but it can happen. Where I want to say it's like sometimes, particularly if you're revealing things people want to stay hidden, you can really kind of get sort of like a psychic attack, is kind of what most people will call them. And it does happen, and of course, I put up protection shields around myself all the time, but things can still break through. This was definitely a person um, that is trying to get me to stop, but I'm not going to because when someone tries to force me to be stopping a reading, that's when I get mad because then you're hiding something you don't want me to say. So I couldn't tell you who this is because I don't see things. I can't see the person physically, but I can feel their energy. And they did not like what I was saying, so they were getting feisty, let's say. But I'm not tolerating that. Yeah, control is a big issue with this group. I don't know if it's really a member or it's people trying to control them. It's like they're not able to like breathe, or like even. It feels like everything they do is very controlled, and that's not good for anybody. And it definitely causes issues. As I said, there's a lot of issues going on. So I think I'm going to end this here and clear my inner whatever just happened there and clear that off. And hopefully, you guys got some interesting information. I now know why I was called to do this reading. So there's that. So go check out my BTS video because this may definitely be connected to what's happening with TXT.